VU League pay-per-view because I just chose some random thing that I thought would be easy for a first review. That's why. And I pulled a random CW pay-per-view out of a hat. For this video's review, I will be talking about Unite Inception. Inception is a CW pay-per-view that came out on June 16, 2019. It is the only pay-per-view that Unite has had, and is currently the last pay-per-view for the CW promotion Forever Movement. That's right, Unite was like a second brand for Forever Movement before it was discontinued. Now, the show begins with honestly really well edited video package that not only hypes up this show and gives a good feel of what this card is and everything, but it also promotes Unite as a whole and what the brand is supposed to represent, which is supposed to be all these different people coming together to make this big colleague. And I thought it was really nice. It's definitely one of the big bright spots of the show. Honestly, the production as a whole is a big bright spot of this show. The arena that was created for this pay-per-view is really well designed, and the editing is really good as well. If you want to see like a really well produced league pay-per-view, I would recommend this. But enough about the production and the looks. Let's go to the opening match, which is Panarino versus Jimmy Kane in the ladder match, which is the Gatekeeper's Challenge. For anyone who's not familiar with this is basically the hardcore division, with the Crimson Star title being the hardcore title. Now, I'll be honest, this was a good opening match. I really liked the opening of this match, where Panarino's in the ring. Jimmy Kane's music plays, Panarino's looking out, seeing him, and suddenly it cuts behind to where Jimmy Kane is pulling out a ladder. He climbs up the ladder, goes on top of it, and then jumps into the ring to try and sneak attack Panarino, only for Panarino to hit him with a kendo stick midair. I thought it was really well done. I thought this was a creative way to open this match, as it makes Kane look sneaky for trying to get a sneak attack on him, and it makes Panarino look smart because it showed him thinking ahead and being very well prepared, which is why he was able to swing the kendo stick at him. One thing I will say is that Panarino's manager, OTP, was used very well when it came to interfering and playing a role as an obstacle for Jimmy Kane to rise up against, because he kept getting in the way. And trust me, this is not the only bit of interference, but it's the only bit of interference that I like. The reversals in this match were really well done, and they were timed well and edited well. The match as a whole was well edited, but the reversals was just some of the easiest one to notice for me when it came to that quality of the match editing. There's one thing that I wasn't really a fan of during this match. It was Panarino getting back up so soon after Jimmy Kane gave him a swanton from the top rope to the outside. I just felt like OTP could have just ran in and provided a distraction to give Panarino a believable amount of time to recover before he got back up in the ring to knock Jimmy Kane off the ladder. It just felt like he no-sold a little too much for me. Plus, OTP was interfering for a little bit and was Panarino's manager, so it would have made sense for him to have done that, but that's just me. The highlight of this match was the spot where Panarino climbed to the top of the Titantron and did an elbow drop right onto Jimmy Kane. I have nothing against Panarino winning. I thought it made sense, especially since he started pairing up with OTP, who is his manager now, and so this win made sense to help establish that pairing and to build Panarino up. Overall, this was a very fun match to watch, and I really enjoyed myself watching it. Next up, we have Rafazo versus Balak in a no-holds-bars match. I find it a little bit weird to do 2 hardcore matches back to back, but it's not a major deal to me. This doesn't like kill my enjoyment of the show. It's just a bit odd to do both of them back to back, where you could have had one other match put between these two as a buffer, but that's not a major thing. I will say that the idea behind this match is really interesting. Having these two evil clowns going at it with each other to see like who was the superior clown and unite. But I will be honest, I did not care for the actual match. I mean, it's the first 2 minutes are okay, but after that, the in-ring stuff is just pretty basic for me. I mean, not bad, just basic, but what really made me dislike this match was how much interference was in this. And I just have to ask, why was there so much interference? Like, it was like 1 or 2 run-ins, maybe. Like one run-in on Rafazo's behalf, another one on like Alex's behalf or something. I could handle that, but there was way more than that, and that just killed it for me, because I felt like the interference killed the pacing of the match. And it was just annoying as hell to watch. It just made me want this match to end much quicker. Honestly, in terms of like comparing the amount of interference compared to the actual in-ring action, it felt like this match was only given the no holds barred stipulation just for the sake of having all this interference in it. And that shouldn't be how it should feel like. It should just feel like this is these 2 psycho clowns just wanting to beat the piss out of each other. And this is why it was no holds barred, so that they could just go all out and beat the piss out of each other. But that's not what it felt like. It felt too basic in terms of in-ring action, and the interference made this unbearable to watch. And honestly, if you want to watch a hardcore match on the show, just watch the other match, because I felt like that was much better. But honestly, if you watch this show, I recommend giving this match a skip. Next, we have, Eve Heron versus Cody Hale in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the Solar Star Gatekeeper Challenge. Solar Star being the women's one, for anyone watching this who isn't familiar with Unite's product. I will say one thing right now. Why was this a 2 out of 3 falls match? Like, even though what you want about the previous match, but I at least could understand why on paper the previous match was no holds barred. The execution was bad, but I at least got it. Why was this one a 2 out of 3 falls match? The first fall in this match, which Eve gets, by the way, happens less than a minute into this match. Why? I just don't understand why that happened. I will admit, this is part of my own bias coming out, because I have never liked having this type of stipulation 2 out of 3 falls or an Iron Man match, and yet the first fall happened a minute into the match. That just, to me, comes across as dumb. But even just saying that aside, it just didn't make any sense. Eve just immediately catches Cody Hale with her finisher, pins her, 1, 2, 3, and in, gets the fall. And then Cody gets right back up. And the thing that makes this more baffling is not only that, but just the fact that with the way the rest of the match is structured, after this fall, it literally takes a lot longer to get to that point, to the second and final fall in this match. Then it makes me wonder why this was even 2 out of 3 falls in the first place. You honestly could have cut the first fall out of this match and kept the rest of the match the same, and nothing would change this at all. That's how little this stipulation really works for this. That's how pointless this stipulation feels to me. But that's not the only problem I had with this match, if I'm being honest here. Another problem with this match was the selling in this match is too uneven. Eve sells a bunch of Cody's offense in this match, including 2 lightning strikes. A lightning strike is Cody's finisher. So not only is Eve no-selling her offense in general, she also completely no-sells her finishers. Cody Hale in this match sold being Irish whipped into the corner more than Eve sold any of Cody's offense. That is how uneven this is. It made this match really boring to watch, because it honestly was so laughably one-sided. There was no stakes. Cody didn't have some big comeback or anything. It was just a squash match for no reason. And Eve going through 2 straight falls was really ridiculous. Like with the other 2 matches, whoever won didn't really bother me. With this one, why did Eve win this match? But like Cody Hill was built as like the rising top female in this company, so a win over Eve would have helped her out here. And not only do you go through building her up this much, having her hold the title and beating all these different challengers going into this match, she didn't even lose looking strong. She got squashed, basically. That's what this was. And that just made this match boring to watch. And again, why was this even 2 out of 3 falls in the first place? I don't want to keep harping on it, but that's just a pattern with some matches, that there are stipulations where they don't need to be stipulations. Like, there's only a few of them here where the stipulation either made sense or worked. But just like the no holds barred match, the stipulation here doesn't work for this match and with the way it's structured. Honestly, this was probably one of my least favorite matches on the show. Next, we go to Sean Nova versus Darren in a steel cage match. By the time I got to this match, I was annoyed because it was the 4th match in a row without a stipulation, but unlike the previous 2 matches, and more like the first one, they actually did a good job with the usage of the stipulation here, to the point where it felt like, okay, this stipulation had a point. This wasn't just tacked on at the last minute to be a stipulation on it, just to have a stipulation. I will say this, I liked the storytelling in this match. Part of the build to this match was Sean Nova basically bragging about how he beat Darren in a 3 stages of hell match in 90 seconds. I'm probably going to talk about the pay-per-view where that happened another time, but I'll just deal with the match right that happened here in Inception. You know, one detail with this story I liked is how in the first 90 seconds of this match, there actually is a 90-second timer on screen to see if Sean Nova can really back up his claim that he will beat Darren in 90 seconds again. And I feel like that definitely added to the storytelling of this match and made Darren seem more sympathetic. And Darren looked good when he held his own for those 90 seconds to prove that Sean Nova will not be able to do that again. I felt like the cage was used very well by both guys as a weapon and as an obstacle. This was one of the best edited matches on the show. No. This, in my opinion, was the best edited match on the show. Probably because they didn't have to over-edit much. It was just a steel cage match, and most of the editing went to the 90-second timer and like doing the close-ups when they threw each other into the cage. That's probably why the editing was a lot smoother here, because they didn't over-edit as much. But I'll say, but even if that's not the case, this was still the best edited match, in my opinion, on this show. Oh, Darren getting the win was really nice, because it really did a good job doing what this match was trying to do, which was redeem Darren from his 90-second loss. It felt good. It made him look sympathetic. Sean Nova got his comeuppance, and it was all in all just a really good story being told with this match. This was easily the strongest match on this show, both from a match perspective and a storytelling perspective. Next, after that gym, we go to this match. Ron Buster and Rannick versus Alchemy Angels in a tables match for the Double Star Gatekeeper Challenge. I mean, you probably know Double Star is the tag team, but whatever. I'll say this. Why is it that in the beginning of this match, they used complete normal tag rules for this tag tables match? instead of tornado tag rules. Has there ever been a tables tag match that used normal tag rules of one partner must be in the corner, they have to tag each other in, and only one partner can be in at a time, like that, those rules? Have you ever seen those rules used in a normal tag team tables match before? I certainly haven't. If any of you had, let me know in the comment section, but I certainly have not. I don't even know why they did that. It's not like there's editing limitations, because they used WWE 2K19 for this, and in that game you use tornado tag rules for tables matches. I would just like to know why they did it. I'm not going to call them out and say they're lazy, because I don't think they are. They probably had a really good reason, and I'm just curious, basically. But anyway, you know, another pointless stipulation where they didn't need it. They could have made this a normal tag match. I know they may sound obnoxious with me saying this, but it really was a common theme with this show. So many unneeded stipulations. Where these stipulations were not all needed. But if the normal tag rules was the only problem I had with this match, I wouldn't dislike this match this much. What really made me annoyed with this match was Rannick. Rannick no-sold all of the Alchemy Angels' offense. And Rom didn't contribute to shit for this match. He didn't contribute at all for this match. The idea of, having the Alchemy Angels, who are supposed to have these magical powers, using their powers to help them win this match, is a cool idea, but the execution just isn't that good. I could say I give points for them brainwashing Rom into jumping on a table and eliminating himself for creativity. But then there's the other problem, which is Rannick. First of all, he beats the crap out of Alchemy Angels and knows all they're in offense. The worst offender was the part where they cloned themselves, so there was two members, like two of each of both members. So like one guy there was two of them and two of the other guy. And they were jumping Rannick 4-on-1, and Rannick was still no-selling everything and beating them down. And managed to put the members and their clones, all of them, through the tables to win the match. This match sucked. I honestly, this was a awful match. The offense wasn't that good. It was boring to watch. The rules didn't make any sense, especially since around the end they used tornado tag rules around the end of it, which made the whole them tagging it out thing look even dumber. There wasn't even consistency of rules in this own match. I honestly just don't get it. This match was bad. You could make a case that this was the worst match in the show. No, but even if it is the worst match, it is not the worst part of the show. At first, I just wanted to only focus on, the matches on this, but I have to talk about this awful segment, because this was legitimately the worst part of the show. It was cringy and not at all entertaining. I am talking about Lacey Lacrosse's expose. I'm going to start with the biggest problem I have with this segment. Rom's commentary. I'm not a prude. I'm not against fan servicey stuff at all. I don't mind it at all, and I've seen some forms of entertainment do it really well. However, the way this segment does it is bad. First of all, the commentary, which was the worst part of this. Rom in this segment is so cringy when it comes to his commentary in this part. He was going nuts as Lacey was stripping. He sounded like a mix between an ape and a 12-year-old boy who had never seen a breast before and is just freaking out at the idea of finally getting to see one. He was hearing that in my ear was really uncomfortable with how over the top it was. It wasn't. If it was meant to be funny, then the joke did not land. And the other commentator didn't really say anything. Didn't say anything during this segment. I don't know where he went, but he didn't say anything. And honestly, if he was there talking crap about Rom and making fun of Rom for how crazy he was during this segment, it would have been more bearable. But when it's just Rom there and he's going crazy during Lacey stripping, it's so unbearable. I muted the commentary during this the first time I saw this show. This was such a waste of time. And not only that, but Lacey was just boring to watch. Maybe it's because I don't want to speculate on whether or not it's because I'm looking at a WWE video game to where seeing a segment where they had to overly edit her stripping and everything makes it less appealing. Or if it's just the animations they used to have her do when it came to her dancing and stripping. But she was boring to watch. I'm not offended. I'm not disgusted at her for stripping or anything. I'm just bored. She was boring. When a girl named Akira came out and interrupted her, I cheered. As far as I was concerned, Akira was the hero during this segment because Lacey stopped stripping and Rom stopped being such a mindless idiot on the commentary table. So as far as I'm concerned, she did the right thing. I don't know why it was edited for her to be booed and why she was put in the wrong. She did the good thing here. But of course, this can't just be Akira just attacks her and stands tall, or they just have a match, like an impromptu match, which would have honestly have been better than the expose segment. It would have given the expose segment an actual purpose on the show. But instead, these two have a cat fight. And it ends with Lacey's bra getting ripped off and her boobs being exposed. Again, boring. Maybe it's just me, but I just don't know what it is about poorly done fan service like this. It never offends me when I see these poorly done fan service like this. I'm always bored out of my mind. It's was this supposed to be shocking? Because it's not. Was this supposed to be funny? Because it's not. Was this actually supposed to be attractive? It's not. If anything, it made Lacey seem less attractive. Because watching her was such a bore. This segment was a complete waste of time that did nothing for this show. Oh, you could have cut this segment out and nothing of value would have been lost. Honestly, if you went with my idea of an impromptu match coming from this, that would make this a bit more salvageable because it would give this segment a point. Since this wasn't a promoted match on the card, this could have been a simple and easy setup for it. Get another women's match on the card. Neither of these ladies were used in Unite before this pay-per-view. Neither of them were on Rivals or the original Unite streams before that. So this could have been you debuting these two new female talents that hadn't been used yet on this brand. But instead, you just want to introduce them by having Lacey be boring fan service and making me hate Rom more. Legitimately, after hearing that, I did not want to hear Rom speak for the rest of the night. I wanted him quiet. I wish that what the Alchemy Angels did to him by making him put himself through the table would have caused them to be gone for the rest of the night, so I wouldn't have to hear this awful commentary. I mean it. Then we had Team Titan versus Team Unite in a 12-on-12 gauntlet match. I love to watch gauntlet matches. I think that they are fun to watch. And honestly, if I ever talk about like my favorite matches, it's gonna be hard for me not to at least bring up one or two gauntlet matches. I always just think that they're so entertaining to watch. But I was still nervous going into this one because it's a 12 on 12 match. 12 on 12. Why? Why wasn't this a 4v4, a 5v5, or even a 6v6 if they wanted to do one of these? And why was this a gauntlet match? They could have easily done a 4v4, 5v5 Survivor Series style tag match instead of this. But you know what? Me complaining about this stipulation doesn't make it a bad match. There have been some matches that had some dumb stipulations that had ended up being enjoyable to me. But I'm gonna be honest. The pacing of this match is bad. The first and second half are like two different styles of matches. The first half, the eliminations are very quick. Very quick. I was lucky to go 3 minutes without an elimination during the first half of this match. That's how quickly the eliminations happened. And then the second half of the match, especially as the match was reaching close to the end, they dragged things on a lot longer than they needed to be. Like, the second half was so stretched out for time. This makes me wonder two things. One, if you're going to stretch out the second half, why was there so many quick eliminations in the first half of this match? And second of all, considering the pacing problems, why was this a whole 12v12? Like, again, you could have made this a 5v5 or a 6-on-6. Cut it in half, and you could have given like each portion a decent amount of time. Now is bad pacing. Like, it feels like the second half dragged on just for the sake of adding more runtime on the show. Honestly, I feel like the previous segment before this was also done to add more time to the show. And I don't get why. Like, your call pay-per-view doesn't always have to be 4 hours long. And I'd rather have a shorter show where all the matches are paced well than matches be stretched out longer than they need to be just to fill in the time slot quota. Yeah. But overall, this match was a mess. And the more it dragged around the end, the more my enjoyment for this match went down. I didn't like this match. It just felt like a big waste of time. It didn't feel like the winners got anything out of this. It didn't really feel like there were any stakes in this. Like, compared to the other matches, there was at least something. Like, the gatekeeper matches, the defending champion can retain their title and look very strong, whereas the gatekeepers can win and like gain credibility or assert their dominance as the gatekeeper. Like, Alfonso versus Balak had, the clown v clown, which the winner could brag about being the best clown in Unite. Even if it's more shallow compared to the gatekeeper matches, that's still something for these characters. It fits their characters to want that. And Sean Nova versus Darren. Darren gets to redeem himself if he wins. And if Sean Nova had won, he got to brag some more about defeating Darren. Like, there was some stakes into these other matches. And it feels like this gauntlet match did not have really any stakes for this, and that the winning team just didn't get anything out of this. Which makes how long it was and it being a big 12v12 even worse. Because it just felt like there was no point to this match at all. And then we get to our main event. honestly, by the time I finally got to this match, I was worn out by the rest of the show. I mean, this is a 4-hour show, so you might be a bit tired for when you get to the main event, but jeez. But this poor match had to follow up that gauntlet match, and honestly, I kind of wish I had skipped the whole gauntlet, watched this match, and then watched the gauntlet. Because, God, that took so... Like, that previous match took the soul on me to the point where I was kind of worn out for this match. And that's not the fault of this match, which is Black Heron versus Desmond Cruz for the Golden Star Gatekeeper Challenge. Like I said, I feel sorry for this match because I was kind of worn out by the rest of the show. But, despite that, I really enjoyed this match. It was back at a lot of great back and forth action. It was definitely a fun brawl. Honestly, this is probably what Rafazo versus Valak should have been, just a big brawl. And that's what I like about this match. Just a brawl, no bullshit interference, just straight up man to man. Even though Desmond Cruz lost, he ended up going down strong. Like, he took a lot of Black Heron's offense, and it literally took Black Heron doing a black gold powerbomb into one of those jukeboxes, and Desmond Cruz getting electrocuted for Black Heron to pin him. No. He looked strong in this finish, and I really do like the finish. Not only because it makes him look strong, and because it's just a really good visual. Well, and honestly, I will say this. This match, it helped the show win on a high note. Now, whether or not Black Heron should have won, I can see a debate on both sides, but at least, unlike Eve, he didn't completely squash Desmond Cruz. Unlike his wife, he didn't squash him. All in all, I enjoyed this match, and it was definitely the right match to close the show. And it ended the show on a high note. I am not going to give a letter grade for this show overall. Though, if I did, maybe a D, but I'm not good at, numerical grades and letter ratings, because I just think they're too iffy for me. So instead, I'm just going to go over the pros and cons. The obvious big pro was the production quality of this show, which I thought was really well done. The editing was great. The arena they created for this was really nice. The graphics they made were good. And all the video packages were really well done. The production quality was easily the biggest pro on the show. Pro number 2, the opening match, which was Andorino versus Jimmy Kane. I thought that was a great opening match, and I thought it was a fun, hardcore style match to watch. The most story-driven and easily the match of the night, which was Sean Nova versus Darren. And, of course, the main event between Black Heron and Desmond Cruz. And now we get to cons. First things first, too many stipulations. That was probably one of the biggest cons of the show, and also too much interference. So not every match needs interference. Not every match needs a stipulation. Honestly, the 3 matches in my pros were the only 3 matches to where they needed the stipulations they had, because they were the only ones who used them effectively. Whereas the other ones, they either could have been kept the same without the stipulation, nothing would have changed, or the stipulation seemed to be an excuse to do stupid crap like this next con right here, which is too much interference. Rafazo versus Valak, Eve Heron versus Cody Hale, Uster and Rannick versus Alchemy Angels, or all cons, as well as Titans versus Unite. Alright, what you're saying, because this is 4/7 of the matches on this show. Only 3 of them are good. But the biggest con, the brown con, the biggest turd on the show, was the expose segment. It was the most unbearable thing. If there's one thing you should skip, if you want to watch the 4 matches I put right here in cons, whatever you want, and I'm not going to stop you if you want to, please skip the expose segment. It's not worth it. It's not entertaining. It's not funny. It's not even so bad that it's good. It's just unwatchable and worthless. It's a prime example of something that felt like it was there just to pad out the run time. This show was not all bad. I will be honest with that. But there was more bad in the show than good. Overall, the 3 matches that I listed in my pros were the diamonds in the mine full of crap. They're buried under the manure of what was the rest of this pay-per-view. But either way, if you want to watch this show, I am going to leave the link to it into the description of the video, because I want to credit the channel that made this pay-per-view, and I want to make it clear that this is in no way insulting the people who made this. This was done purely for criticism and nothing else. I want it to be as constructive as possible, and I hope no one who watches this believes that I'm being insulting, because I'm not trying to be. I just want to give constructive feedback. But I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Let me know if I should continue reviewing these cause shows. You can even point me to the direction of any shows you recommend I review. And if you do, I hope I have more fun watching them than I did with this show. This is Lady Baconator, and I wish you all a nice goodbye.